The Denver Nuggets' impressive season has now come to an end. No one expected this team to make the Western Conference Finals, let alone the fashion in which they did so, being the only team in history to win a series coming back from a 3-1 deficit twice in a postseason. The Nuggets can hold their head up high and continue this momentum into next season as they have in previous seasons. This team has improved every single year in the Jokic, Murray, and Coach Malone era, and I don't see why they won't continue to improve. In the playoffs, Nikola Jokic once again not only matched his regular season numbers, but added to them. The past two seasons, Joker went from averaging 20 points, 10.3 rebounds, and 7.1 assists per game on 52% shooting from the floor, and 31% from 3 in the regular season to 25.3 points, 11.5 rebounds, and 7.1 assists per game on 51% shooting, and a greatly elevated 41.7% from behind the arc on a greater volume. I think it's clear that he is the best big man in the NBA and a future MVP in this league. Jamal Murray also elevated his numbers in the playoffs 2 years in a row now. But this postseason in particular, he has destroyed any doubt people had in him. Fans who criticized him for being an inconsistent player who was overpaid and incapable of being a star in this league have been proven wrong. He exploded and dominated games. His numbers jumped from 18.5 points, 4 rebounds, and 4.8 assists on 45% shooting from the field and 34.6% from 3 to about 27 points, 5 rebounds, 6.6 assists on 51% shooting from the field and insanely efficient 46% from behind the arc on 7.5 attempts per game. Murray also did this by taking great care of the ball and rarely turning it over. His breakout was instrumental in his Nuggets team upsetting the championship favorite Clippers and getting to the Western Conference Finals. His elite shooting from 3 was also incredibly important considering this team struggled from downtown this season. Imagine if he plays at this level all year long. Murray would surely make his first All-Star appearance and an All-NBA team. Not to mention the Nuggets would dominate the regular season. This team has proved they have a fantastic supporting cast. Guys like Michael Porter Jr., Jeremy Grant, Paul Millsap, Gary Harris, Will Barton, Torrey Craig, and Monty Morris were all valuable contributors and great pieces to fill out this team. Bol Bol is also a very nice young prospect that will help the Nuggets in the long term either as a trade chip or as a valuable contributor in the future. The kid has shown a ton of promise. The Nuggets also have a fantastic coach in Michael Malone, who they just extended at the end of last year. He is a great communicator and gets his players to buy in and fight for him. Malone has also created a great culture and helped move this franchise into a successful direction. Coach Malone, along with the front office, have preached continuity and not skipping any steps. They continue to let these guys grow together by consistently bringing key guys back every year. Players like Jokic, Jamal Murray, Will Barton, Gary Harris, Torrey Craig, and Monty Morris have all grown with this team. Paul Millsap was a great veteran that they brought along, and Michael Porter Jr. is proving that he could be a huge part of this core going forward. Now that the season is over, the Nuggets front office has some decisions to make. In this video, we will break down what this team's realistic outlook is over the course of the next 2 seasons. We will discuss who they should go after in free agency this offseason, and what 2 directions this Nuggets team can go in the next few seasons in order to achieve that ultimate prize of winning a championship. But before we jump into it, if you enjoyed this video, subscribe, hit the like button, and remember to turn on the bell notification so I can keep getting that new content out to you. Also check out the playlist in the description section on other teams' 2-year outlooks I find interesting, and leave a comment on your thoughts on this team. I really do try and respond to most comments the first few days this video is up. This Denver Nuggets team has some free agency decisions to make now that Paul Millsap, Mason Plumlee, Torrey Craig, and Noah Vonleh's contracts are coming off the books. Also, Jeremy Grant will surely opt out of his $9.3 million contract and become an unrestricted free agent. The team's first priority should be to re-sign Jeremy Grant, considering he is still only 26 years old, has improved his game a lot, and the Nuggets gave up a draft pick to get him. Grant will surely be in line for a raise next season. Grant is probably never going to be an all-star, but he is the ideal role player and a valuable starter. His numbers may not jump out at you, but the guy provides a lot of value for the Nuggets. Grant knows his role, plays solid defense, and can defend power forwards and wings And on offense is efficient from the field and has shot 39% from downtown the past 2 seasons, which to me proves his shooting from 3 isn't a fluke. Having a guy who can spread the floor at the 4 position is huge for this Nuggets team that at times struggled to make 3-point shots. Losing him would hurt this team. Whether or not they bring back Paul Millsap, it's fair to say that Grant will be this team's power forward of the future, given he is almost a decade younger than Paul Millsap. Now, Grant could probably have commanded more money had there not been a pandemic going on, but he will still likely be able to sign a nice contract. Danny Green makes about $15 million per year with the Lakers, and I think that is roughly what Grant can make in his new contract. I see the Nuggets locking him in on a 4-year, $60 million deal. I think it's important they bring him back, and that offer, in my opinion, will do the trick. I believe there are a few names they should circle in free agency that the Nuggets can realistically target. Jay Crowder would be an interesting name for them to target, considering he can effectively guard wings for this Nuggets squad that can at times have a hard time finding someone to guard opposing wings. Torrey Craig and Gary Harris are more effective defensively on guards than wing players. And Michael Porter Jr. is a defensive liability, which leaves only Jeremy Grant to take on that assignment. The thing is, the Nuggets would likely prefer to keep him at that 4 position. I believe Crowder would fit this need nicely and has proven he can hit the open threes as well. I am sure Jokic will be able to find him on open threes without many problems. Miami will likely only offer him a 1-year deal, considering they want to pursue Giannis next offseason. So a 4-year offer may persuade Crowder to change teams. Another player who would fit nicely is Christian Wood, who has the ability to absorb contact, finish at the rim, and execute on the pick and roll while providing fans ferocious dunks. His greatest asset, however, is his ability to effectively space the floor, as he shot close to 39% from downtown last season. And the more shooting, the better for this Nuggets team. He is also solid at protecting the rim and is only just 25 years old. I believe that both Christian Wood and Jay Crowder can be had on 3 to 4 year deals on that full mid-level exception that the Nuggets will likely have. Another player that the Nuggets can look to add on the cheap would be Harry Giles, who is still only just 22 years old with a ton of potential. If you have seen some of my other videos, you will notice that Giles is a guy I find many teams would be crazy not to take a flyer on. The guy brings a ton of heart, is skillful, and is an underrated passer. Injuries are what really hurt his value, but I think that if the Nuggets can get him on a reasonable contract, he would be a nice player for them off the bench playing limited minutes. Why not take a flyer on him? I would like to see the Nuggets bring back Paul Millsap. Even though he is almost 36 years old, Millsap has been a valuable contributor. He's been a great vet for this team who still plays solid defense and can make big plays and can knock down 3-point shots at an efficient rate. It will all depend on what kind of offers he will get in the open market. Considering the Nuggets will be bringing back his eventual successor, Jeremy Grant, on a more lucrative contract, they won't be able to also give him that kind of money. But if the Nuggets can lock him in on a reasonable, affordable deal, they would be in a great position going forward even as he declines. Torrey Craig and Mason Plumlee have also been solid rotation players, but I don't think they should be brought back if it means the team can't afford to bring in Jay Crowder or Christian Wood, or even re-sign Paul Millsap. If the Nuggets can find a way to keep them, then they should by all means do so, considering Craig and Plumlee have been nice rotation players. I truly believe that if they stick with their mantra of not skipping any steps and prioritizing continuity, that they will be in a great position in the future. The Nuggets can build on the success that they had this postseason into next year. With the impressive depth this team will have, and if Jokic stays in good shape, if Jamal Murray can play anywhere near the level of play we all witnessed this postseason, if Michael Porter Jr. continues his development and refrains from being a locker room problem, not only will he be able to one day be that third star in this Nuggets team, but this squad will be able to win a championship next season. I really do think that Michael Porter Jr. has the potential to become a dominant offensive player and a consistent all-star in this league with his combination of size, being 6'10" with a 7-foot wingspan, and skills as a scorer. He is very good at attacking the rim and finishing on any defender and has a silky smooth jump shot. Again, the Nuggets need 3-point shooting. It has been one of their weaknesses during the regular season, and Michael Porter Jr. shot 42% from 3 this year. The guy can also just create his own shot and give the Nuggets key buckets, and has shown he isn't afraid of taking them in big moments. Although he played limited minutes his rookie season, Michael Porter Jr. has very encouraging per 36 numbers of 20 points on very good efficiency and 10.3 rebounds. He is actually a solid rebounder, which will bode well for the Nuggets. I think as he gets older and adds more strength, he will only be a more dangerous scorer and rebounder. Michael Porter Jr. does have a lot of work to do, however. First thing is he rarely passes the ball. The guy had horrific per 36 numbers of 1.8 assists per game. He will need to get better at playing a team game. He can't be selfish, especially with this team. Defense is another area that Michael Porter Jr. needs to improve upon, and I think he has the right coach to help him develop his defensive skills in Coach Malone. Another area of concern is that Michael Porter Jr. displayed immaturity and is at risk of becoming a bad locker room presence, which is the absolute last thing this team needs. The Nuggets have fantastic chemistry and they can't let someone ruin that. But to be fair, he is still just only 22 years old, so he has plenty of room to grow, and a team full of good locker room guys and Coach Malone can show him the way. I can see Michael Porter Jr. being a spark plug scorer off the bench next season, and actually competing for that 6th Man of the Year award. The other direction the Nuggets can go in is making a massive trade by the trade deadline if they aren't playing to their expectations, and if Michael Porter Jr. struggles and proves to be a problem in the locker room. In that scenario, they can make a trade for a third star, like a Bradley Beal for example, centered around Gary Harris, Michael Porter Jr. and picks. This would be a monster move for the Nuggets considering they will be able to hold on to Jamal Murray all while bringing in a third star. This trade would effectively create a big three on the Nuggets squad by bringing in a legit top 20 player in the NBA who doesn't require the ball to be effective, and is in the beginning of his prime and is locked in on a long-term contract. This would create not only a legitimate championship contender, but arguably a championship favorite. I'd say that unless Michael Porter Jr. makes big improvements in production and attitude, the Nuggets should jump at this opportunity if it is made available, or if any other young star is made available on the trade market. I think there's a strong chance that Beal will be made available considering the fact that I again don't see the Wizards competing next season, even with John Wall coming back from injury. They will be a sub-500 team at best, and I believe Bradley Beal wants recognition. Had he been on a more successful team, he would have been an all-star and would have been on an all-NBA team this year. But look, the Denver Nuggets will have a great shot at that number 1 seed next season, regardless of if they make a trade or not. Jokic will be one of the frontrunners for that MVP award, and the Nuggets will be viewed as legitimate championship contenders. It is safe to say that this Nuggets team has graduated from a Tier 2 puncher's chance sort of team to a legit Tier 1 championship contender. They have a very bright future. What do you guys think? What should the Nuggets offseason plans consist of? Do you have faith in Michael Porter Jr. becoming that third star on this team? Or should the Nuggets trade for a Bradley Beal or any other third star? Again, I really do try and reply and interact with all my viewers. And also check out the playlist in the description section on other teams' 2-year outlooks I find interesting. And go ahead and subscribe and hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. Till the next one, guys, I'm out.